Bible. There's always something new to learn in the scriptures, always, right? And so we're going to continue to meditate on this word. Today's topic is called the meditation of the princes. The meditation of the princes. In order to be a prince, you have to be diligent in your facto. You have to be militant in your discipline in studying. You have to be very disciplined in teaching. You have to be very disciplined in constantly keeping your mind on the Most High and what He requires. You have to constantly do that. That's what the meditation of the princes is all about. Constantly thinking about the Most High, keeping your mind always on the Father. Colossians chapter 3, verse 17. And notice this very first scripture is talking about constant meditation on the Father. Colossians chapter 3, verse 17, and whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all in the name of HAMASHAYACH Yahawashi, giving thanks to the Most High Yahawah, our Father by Him. All praises to the Most High. We do everything in word and deed through our Father by Hashem, HAMASHAYACH Yahawashi, the Father Abraham, the Father Isaac, and Jacob, who's worthy to be praised through HAMASHAYACH Yahawashi. This is what we do daily, right? We should be praying daily. That's the meditation of the 12 tribes of Israel, right? That's the meditation of the princes. Let's go to Isaiah 26, verse 3. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee. So we are to keep our mind on the Most High. Look at verse 4. Trust ye in Yahawah forever. For in the Most High Yahawah, it says Jehovah here, but it's Yahawah, is everlasting strength. So now you know His name. He put it right here in the scriptures. Yahawah is His name. Not Yah, okay? Not God, not Lord. It's Yahawah. That is His name. Yahawah. For in the Most High Yahawah is everlasting strength. So you're supposed to meditate on that thing right there. Meditate. How do you meditate? Let's go to Psalms 119. That's what Joshua told us. Meditate on this day and night. Open your Bible. Don't be so lazy you can't go into your Bible and read some scriptures. Don't be that lazy. It's not that hard. Every day He blesses you to wake up. Right? Every day He blesses you to do certain things. Before you go out in the public eye, you always brush your teeth, you wash your face, you comb your hair. You do all these things for the world. But what do you do for the Father? Okay? Every day we should be meditating on His word. Look at Psalms 119, verse 164. Psalms 119, verse 164. 7 times a day do I praise thee because of thy righteous judgments. 7 times. So you're supposed to do it 10 times more in this place called Babylon. We're not in peace. We're not in the kingdom. We should be doing it 10 times more, right? So we have to understand what the Most High requires. This is the meditation of the princes. We have to sacrifice ourselves for Him. That's what it's all about. Sacrifice. And you sacrifice yourself by keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments. This is something we should be doing daily. He gives us ways to live. He tells us how to live. He tells us not to bring any old body to your house, right? Because they come with trailers. They come with deceitfulness. You have to understand who you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. That's keeping the commandments. That's a form of praising Him. So we going to go through these scriptures and we're going to see various things concerning the Most High. And like I said, the Most High never slumbers, right? Let's go to Psalms 121. Psalms 121. Psalms 121 and verse 2. Psalms 121 and verse 2. The Most High put all these things about His characteristics in the Bible. You should know him. Psalms 121, verse 2. My help cometh from Yahawah. So if you ain't praising him, why do you expect him to help you? My help cometh from Yahawah, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. You see that? He doesn't sleep. He's always awake. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Right there, he tells you he don't sleep. He's constantly aware of what's going on with Yasharallah daily. And if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, guess what? Your foot will be moved. Okay, we're going to go over the princes in here. We're going to show you how the prince's foot would not be moved. They were only called princes because their foot would not be moved because they had glory in the Father. But when you don't have glory in the Father, your foot will be moved. The book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, and chapter 23. Because this is important. The Most High, like I said, throughout the scriptures, he gives us the recipe for success in this life. There's a recipe for success. Many people don't have this recipe because they don't even consider the Bible to be the word of the Most High. Sirach chapter 23 and verse 19. Let's go there. Sirach chapter 23 and verse 19. It says, such a man only feareth the eyes of men, and knoweth not that the eyes of the Most High are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men, and considering the most secret parts. See that? He knows your secret parts. He knows what you do daily. We worry about Esau monitoring us. The Most High is monitoring us constantly, more than Esau. More than Esau. And he's watching your ways, what you talk about, what you say. He watches your ways when you communicate with your brethren or with your sisters. He's seeing if you'll stand in the way and stop them from talking of filthy communication. He's watching that. Oh, you let them just run their mouth and just keep on talking. You didn't stop them? Or you didn't warn them? Okay, they done went too deep. Now they done went in the gutter. You still letting them talk? Man, throw a verse in there, something. You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to praise him 7 times. 7 times a day. So he searches our hearts. He knoweth our reins. He knoweth all things. All right? This is what we have to do. Let's go down to Sirach chapter 24, verse 8. Sirach chapter 24 and verse 8. And it reads, so the creator of all things gave me a commandment. We have commandments. And he that made me caused my tabernacle to rest. So if you keep his commandments, unlike what the churches tell you, if you keep his commandments, the Most High will give you rest. And said, let thy dwelling be in Jacob, and thine inheritance in Israel. He created me from the beginning, before the world, and I shall never fail. As long as you believe in him, keep his word, you shall never fail at anything. And people will be jealous of you because you're not falling, because you're not failing. They don't like your ideas. You might be on an upward stroke constantly. They get mad at you for succeeding. It's an upward stroke, and people get mad at you, right? But we know the recipe for success. Let's go to Joshua 1 and 8. This is the meditation of the princes. Joshua 1 and 8. The book of Joshua, chapter 1 and verse 8. And listen to what it says. It says, this book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night. 7 times a day you should be praying, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. There's no way you can understand all that is written in here without the wisdom of the Most High, without going into the Bible daily. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have what? Good success. People hate your success. They don't like to see you strive. But the Most High gives you success. Abraham got success. Isaac got success. Jacob got success. All the people of the Bible who follow his ways got success. Solomon was known all over the world for putting the Most High first. He got success. All right? There's not a person who puts the Most High first that don't get success. Okay? This is why when people get married, when two people come together in a union, the Most High blesses them. He tells you marriage is honorable. Honorable to who? To the Most High. Marriage is honorable. This is why we should be pushing this to our children. We shouldn't be saying, oh, it's good to get a little boyfriend, a little girlfriend. No, push marriage. It's honorable to the Father. That's what's important. Then you get into the mate thing. Oh, what do they do? Are they not following the word? You know, you get into all the little critical things about it. But marriage is the ultimate. It's the ultimate. All right? All right, so now let's find out who's the first prince of the Most High. Let's go to Genesis chapter 32. Genesis chapter 32. And let's go to verse 22. And we are discussing the meditation of the princes. And the meditation of the princes must be in the scriptures. So this is the first young man who was deemed a worthy servant to the Most High. And it reads, and he rose up that night and took his 2 wives and his 2 women servants and his 11 sons and passed over the ford Jabbok. So he passed over a river. This is Jacob. He was leaving his uncle's service, Laban, and going back to his homeland where his brother Esau dwelt, because that was his inheritance. Genesis chapter 32, verse 23. And he took them and sent them over the brook, and sent over that he had. So he sent all his family over the brook. And Jacob was left alone. And there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. So Jacob was wrestling, just like when he came out of the womb. This time he was wrestling with the knowledge of the Most High. Okay? Unlike in the womb, he didn't have the knowledge of the Most High. Esau, what? Esau got out first. But this time he wrestled with the knowledge of the Most High. Genesis 32 and 25. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh. This is the man that was wrestling with him. And the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. So this man was an angel, touched his hollow part of his joint and dislocated his thigh. And he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go except thou bless me. You ever see it like the ancient samurais? They would fight with a broken arm. That didn't stop them. You had to literally kill him for them to stop fighting. And this was Jacob. This is where the samurais came from, the Israelites. We knew martial arts. You don't think Jacob knew different techniques of taking down people? Genesis 32 and 27. And he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with the Most High and with men, and hast prevailed. See that? Let's read the 30. So his name was called Jacob. It switched from Jacob to Israel, which means a prince of power. Verse 29. And Jacob asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, the name. And he said, wherefore is it that thou doest ask after my name? And he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen the Most High's face to face, and my life is preserved. So remember the scriptures, it said, he that trusteth in the Most High, his foot shall not be moved. That's what happened with Jacob. He trusted in the Most High. Jacob at that time was a man of low degree until he proved himself to the Most High. Because he gloried in the Most High, the angel could not do nothing to him to harm him. You see that? He dislocated his thigh, but he can fix that. That's repairable. Well, you're going to take a couple bruises and scratches. That's what the Most High is telling you. But you're not going to forget that fight. The glory of the Most High is going to sustain you in anything that you do. He's going to get you out of that. So being that Jacob was in a low degree and now was made a prince, I want to take you to 1 Samuel chapter 2. 1 Samuel chapter 2. Let's find out what this means. 1 Samuel chapter 2 and verse 30. 1 Samuel chapter 2 and verse 30. And it reads, wherefore the Most High Yahawah of Israel saith, I said indeed that thy house, which means your whole family, when it says house, means bayah in the Hebrew, and the house of thy father shall walk before me forever. But now the Most High saith, be it far from me, for them that honor me I will honor, and they that despise me shall be lightly esteemed. So when you honor the Most High gives you strength. The Most High showed Jacob honor because Jacob, when he was fighting this fight, his belief was fully on the Most High that he could win this fight. Okay? And the Most High gave him strength to wrestle this angel. So the angel's like, why am I wrestling you? I mean, we believe in the same power. There's no sense in me wrestling you. There ain't no sense in me bothering you. We believe in the same power of the earth. So I'm just going to stop right now. You know, I'm going to let you go. You won't let me go, so I'm going to make you let me go. I'm going to have to break something for you to let me go, because Jacob would not let him go. And the man would not do nothing at that time to hurt Jacob because of that. You know, so we have to understand the power of the Most High. You have to glory in his word. You have to meditate upon the Most High daily to get these blessings. And the Most High is only going to excel those who believe, those who meditate on his word. Let's go to Luke chapter 1. Luke chapter 1, verse 49. And this is Yahawashi speaking. Luke chapter 1, verse 49. And it reads, for he that is mighty hath done to me great things, and holy is his name. Talking about Yahawah. And his mercy is on them that fear him from generation to generation. Jacob feared him, and we should fear him too. He hath showed strength with his arm. He hath scattered the proud in the imagination of their hearts. He hath put down the mighty from their seats, and exalted them of low degree. Jacob was of low degree before he got that power from the Most High. So just like us, we were all in low degrees at one time, right? We had low vibrations. Yeah, we went to church, we went to the Christian churches and so forth, Jehovah's Witnesses or Islam, but we were people of low degree, low standards in the form of following the Most High. We didn't know the dietary law. We didn't know the ceremonial laws. We didn't know any of the things that was productive through the Father. We didn't know anything, so we were of a low degree. We had no knowledge of the Father. All right, so Jacob, who was of low degree, was exalted to a prince. And that's what we work at being, princes of the Father. I want to look up that word prince that we went over in Genesis 32 and 28. If you look at this word, you could go to the Strong's, and the Strong's number, if you can go to the Strong's, it's H8280. H as in Harry, 8280. Now, I'm here looking at this word, right? And I'm going to go to Prince. Okay. And the Hebrew word for prince, You never believe what it is. It's Sarah, right? Or the way that you would pronounce it is Sarah. Let me put this on loud.
Sarah.
Let me play it again.
Sarah.
Can y'all hear that? I'll play it again.
Strong's H8280. Sarah. Sarah.
All right, so that's in Hebrew. Sarah is how you say Sarah. And Sarah, that comes from Abraham. Abraham's wife, her name was Sarah. What does Sarah mean? It means to contend, to have power, to contend with, to persist, to exert oneself, to persevere, right? So Sarah means to have power. It means a prince. So she was of royalty. The way that you would spell it is SAW-RAW. That's how you would write Sarah in the Hebrew. Sarah. All right. So her name was royalty. Another way of determining the verb is persist, to exert oneself, to persevere. I went into the etymology dictionary of Sarah, and you'll see it says, proper name, biblical wife of Abraham and mother of Isaac. Do you guys have that one, or did I send you something else? It means from the Hebrew, literally princess, from Sarah. So Sarah's name means princess, powers. From Sarah he ruled, which is related to Akkadian Sharatu, which means queen. A popular as a name for girls born in the U.S. in 1870s and 1978 through 2000. So a lot of young ladies were born during those times. Their mothers were naming them Sarah. It was a popular name. All right, Sarah. Now, back in the medieval times, there was a group of people that were converting to Islam. Did I send you another insert? Because I'm going off my desktop right now. I know I sent you some things. You should look at it. Let me see. If you go to the other insert I sent you, it's called Saracen. Now, this was about the medieval times, right? The medieval times when a lot of people were converting to Islam. Islam came about 600 years after Yahawashi had been resurrected, 600 years later. This is when Muhammad came into the picture. So a lot of people were converting over to Islam because Islam was getting so big, they were pushing the people out that didn't believe in Islam, that lived in the Holy Land. And so a lot of the Israelites converted to Islam, and the name that they chose to call themselves were Saracens. Okay? If you look at the insert I sent you, it says Saracen, a noun, Middle English Saracen or Saracen, Saracen, a Turk, an Arab, a Muslim, from Old English, from Old French Saracen, or medieval Latin Saracens, from Greek Sarakinos. This usually is said to be from Arabic Sharquinian, accusative plural of Sharqi, Eastern, from Sharq, East, sunrise, but this is not certain. In medieval times, the name was associated with that of biblical what? Sarah. So they took on the name of Sarah, which was Abraham's wife, to call themselves princes. So when you see Saracen, most of the time they were Israelites who still wanted to maintain some heritage back to the first wife of Abraham, to let everybody know, hey, we're Israelites who converted to Islam. You see that? They could have took on Hagar's name, which was Abraham's concubine, who had Ishmael. But no, they took on Sarah's name because they converted, but they still fought for the land against the Crusades, which the Christian people, the Christian Crusaders were coming down trying to take over Israel. Now, as we go through this, you're going to notice the color of the Saracens Okay, Con, you got it. I have about 8 volumes. This insert is coming from a book called The Image of the Black in Western Art, but I have about 8 volumes of these books, and I couldn't pull it out fast enough for the class because the countdown was coming close to 10:30, so I couldn't pull it as fast as I wanted to because I would have to search through this thing. But I went to where I knew Saracen were, and I just took a photo and sent it. So now that everybody has it, I'm going to read it. Go to the insert that I sent you that starts out at the very top. It says, "We're loud in their praise of Our Lady." If you see that one, we'll read this paragraph. It says, "The significance of these images is confirmed by a contemporary text, semicolon. A girl guilty of fornication with a Moor is liable to the loss of half her goods for a first offense and of all she has for a second one." Now, this is coming from a Christian standpoint of a European nation. They wrote this. Okay, this is not coming from a standpoint of an Islamic side or a Israelite side, Jewish, what they would call Jewish, of an Israelite side. The Israelites were various shades of brown. Okay, but notice that it says the Moor is arrested because the Saracens were called Moors, because that's what they were. They were dark. The Moor is arrested and is liable to the death penalty. This juridical text also explains that the Latin word Saracenus is translated as M-O-W, Moor. See that? So Saracen and Moor were one of the same. And if they were calling themselves Saracen, these Moors, these dark Jews who call themselves Saracens, were fighting for Islam. They had converted. It says in the Romance Talk, "Our illustrator has therefore respected the conventions in force around him, even if the woman is innocent, the necessary condition for the happy ending. It is hard to imagine a clear intimidation of interracial and interreligious sexual relations in Spain." Now, in Spain, we all know that this was a normal thing. There was a lot of interrelational marriages going on during that time. Nobody cared about how big the race thing was until the Roman Catholic Church got involved. And they start pushing this papal bull about race, right? It says, "or a more violently expressive tattoo intended to foreclose the possibility of such goings on." Here the image confirms the law and how powerful. And this time, the Moor is black. So it's telling you that the Israelites who were considered Moors were black. So it is simply undeniable that in this particular case, the horror of I can never say this word, miscegenation redoubles the prohibition, I can't read today, the prohibition of sexual relations between persons of different religions. It is true that the text itself suggests another interpretation. The black is one of her Moors, therefore a slave belonging to the mother-in-law, because some of the Moors were captured and put into slavery. The social taboo is added to the others, but honor is saved so far as color is concerned. Probably was painful in the 13th century to portray a white man reduced to slavery. Although, as we know, whites were in fact so reduced. They were also in slavery at a certain time under the what? Under the Moors. So let's go from there. There's a little more in there, but we're going to skip that. I want to go to another point. I just want to give you to understand that Moors and Saracens were one of the same. Let's go to, there is a book where I highlighted it with a pencil, and it says the Crusaders could not. Let me know when y'all get to that one. It says the Crusaders could not. Highlight it with a pencil. You guys got it? All right. All right. Anybody online? Y'all got it too?
Is that the one at the very top? Is that the one at the very top?
It was the first sheet that was.
Got it.
Okay. Check this out. It says the Crusaders could not, therefore, be expected to have a favorable point of view with regard to blacks. So the Crusaders were racist. See this? In fact, the first evidence we discover are hostile. The texts are unmerciful where Muslims of color are concerned. So they were gearing up towards Muslims with color. Notice this. Okay? It's the same thing that we see going on over there in Gaza today and with the Jewish people today over there. They're destroying each other, right? Well, the Jewish are destroying the Gazans. All right? It says, to kill a Saracen was the dream of every knight. If he was black, the pleasure of the glory grew. You see that? So if you were black, the Crusaders, they went out their way to kill you. It's not even necessarily that you were a part of this enclave of being a Saracen. They were killing you just because you were black. The women, children, they go along with that. It says, besides, the term Ethiops no longer designated the vague inhabitant of a nebulous land. So at one time, some of the people were called Ethiopians. They didn't care if you were called an Ethiopian. They were out to kill Saracens, and Ethiopians, just because of the color complexion, were being killed too. If you were Israelite, you were being killed too because you had that complexion. And just like over here in the Americas with the Native American Indians, what happened? They was killing the men. Well, what happened to the women and children? Did they live? No, they was getting killed too. Anybody who looked like them was getting killed. It's the same thing. They do the same thing all over the world. They was doing it then. Okay? So just want y'all to see this racism. It's written in words for you to read it. You just have to look through the words and understand what they're saying. So most of the people of Africa were called Ethiops. But most of the people of Africa were not called Saracens, right? These are the brothers and sisters who converted from being Israelites into Muslims. They took on the name Saracens to make a difference between them and the regular Ishmaelite Muslims. The term Ethiops no longer designated the vague inhabitant of a nebulous land. To the Crusaders, it meant a black Muslim. Coming closer and closer to them, Eastern Africa began to be better known, and the grosser misjudgments were fading away, at least among Europeans living in Syria and Palestine. On the other hand, the assumption of superiority over the Muslims and even over the Byzantines was as strong as ever. When did this happen? The next paragraph says as early as the 12th century. So how long ago was that? We're only in the 21st century. So that wasn't that long ago. Okay? The evocation of the Crusades provided a reason for representing battles between the Frankish and the Saracen cavalrymen. Let's drop down. I just want you to see that it was an all-out campaign to kill anyone of color at this particular time. This is before the decree of slavery came out. So there was a slaughtering going on during the time of the Arab Eastern slave trade, because that happened when? Everybody knows when that happened, right? That happened at the end of the 12th century to the 14th century. That's when the Eastern Arab slave trade took place, right? Or maybe even sooner. But the Crusades, once that was over, then the Roman Catholic Church put out a Roman papal bull, which was a law, a decree, to put all Israelites into captivity, right? And that's how we got the transatlantic slave trade. That happened in 1462 up until 1619. So all of this went back to back to back to back. It seems, therefore, that the presence of blacks in the Muslim armies was exploited over only after the end of the Crusades, at which time the representation acquired, in a way, retrospective value. The Occident, its knighthood in defeat, may have found some consolation in it. So we'll stop there. All right. We'll stop there. As you notice down there, it says at the very bottom, it says cavalryman white against black. So that thing was going on way back then. They were fighting against us then. I sent you a picture of a Saracen on a horse. All right, this is a Saracen. Look at him. Look at what he has around his head. He has like a bandana. Now, those Israelites who dwelt in England wore the same type of bandana, right? And they knew that they were Israelites. So these Saracens of the eastern part of Africa were the same people, but they were into Islam. See this? Hope y'all saw that. Let's go to the next one. You'll see Saracens or Moors in white gowns or garments, and they're being taken in by the Crusaders who have swords. Now, these are probably Israelites who they thought was Saracens just because of the skin complexion, and they was about to put them to death. That's 52. Look at 52 on the insert that I sent to explain what it is. It says 2 soldiers leading 2 Moors before a king. Doesn't call them Saracens, but they call them Moors. Doesn't say what type of Moors, what type of people. It says Moor, blacks. Northeastern Spain, 1290 to 1310. See that? So I just want y'all to know the stuff that we're going over, this stuff is real. This is real information. This is truthful information that we should all know about. So the Saracens, now you should have understanding of who they are. You also should have understanding of what Abraham's wife Sarah means, the name, what it means. We have to understand names are very important. They call it nomen omen, to be named after something or some place. Nomen omen. All right? This is why we name our children based on their characteristic. Names are very important based on the scriptures. Let's go to the definition of prince. The definition of prince. So the name Prince, when we look up the name Prince, I'm not talking about the artist Prince, although we're going to talk about him too. When you look up the name Prince, it represents a son of a monarch, someone of nobility, a son of a king, okay, or a sovereign king, a son, right? So Israel, those who came out of Israel, meaning Jacob, we are all princes because we come from the son that represented the Most High, okay? Jacob became Israel, which means he is a prince of power. So all Jacob's sons are noblemen to be princes. We are all princes. It means an excellent man. When you follow the scriptures, it considers an excellent man or excellent daughter, Sarah. So keep that in mind, all right? And so I sent you another insert of a man. Let's see. His name is John L. Nelson. Now, Yahawashi should know who this man is. John L. Nelson. Check out that insert that I sent you. All right, it says, "Don't play with love." The John L. Nelson, I can't read, project. So John L. Nelson, who was he? John Lewis Nelson, also known by his stage name Prince Rogers, was an American jazz musician and songwriter. He was the father of musician Prince. Y'all know who Prince is. He sung all the different songs, Little Red Corvette, all that stuff. And Tyka Nelson, which was a sister, and a credited co-writer on some of his son's songs. So John Lewis Nelson went by the stage name of Prince. So that made his son, what? A prince. This is why Prince took on the name Prince. And how did Prince stay a prince? He excelled at his nobleship, which was he was able to play every instrument that was around him. He could play the guitar, he could play the piano, he could play the flute, he could play everything. He was a high quality musician. And so this is just to give you an example of how we're supposed to be with Jacob. If he was our father, we're supposed to be just like Jacob. We're supposed to excel, just like Prince, with his father, excelled, okay, in the musician arena. So princes are very significant in the scriptures. Like he said, thou will keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee because he trusteth in thee, that we read in Isaiah chapter 26:3. We're supposed to be princes and daughters, which are princess. Let's go to Numbers chapter 1. Numbers chapter 1, verse 16. These were the renowned of the congregation, princes of the tribes of their fathers, heads of thousands in Israel. See that? So who were the princes of the tribes of the fathers? Look above. Start at verse 8. It says, of Simeon, in verse 7, of Judah, in verse 8. These are sons of all these men. Of Issachar, Nathaniel, the son of Zuar, verse 9. And Zebulun, Eliab, the son of Helon. So it goes from the son, all the way down. And we're supposed to emulate what our fathers did, to follow in the footsteps of the Father, to walk with the Heavenly Father, Yahawah. It says, of the children of Joseph, Ephraim, and it names their sons. Verse 11, of Benjamin, and it names his sons. 12, of Dan and his sons. 13, Asher and their sons. Gad and their sons. Naphtali, their sons. These were the renown of the congregation, princes of the tribes of their father, heads of thousands in Israel. See that? And Moses and Aaron took these men which are expressed by their names. So this is very significant. Let's drop down to verse 44. The princes are very important. We are a prince of power. But when we're not princes of power, when we stop keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, we become plain men. We become Jacob. Jacob was a plain man, right? That's what the scripture says. We become plain again. Numbers chapter 1, verse 44. These are those that were numbered, which Moses and Aaron numbered, and the princes of Israel, being 12 men. Each one was for the house of his fathers. See that? So everything we do, we number ourselves based on our fathers. So we're all those that were numbered of the children of Israel by the house of their what? I told you what house means. By Yah, it means the house of your father. From 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war in Israel. Understand this is very significant. Let's go to Numbers, and let's go to chapter 7. Numbers chapter 7, verse 2. Now don't get it twisted. There's other princes in the Bible. There were elite men of other fathers, such as Ishmael. He had princes. Remember, the angel of the Most High blessed Ishmael, Hagar's lineage of 12 princes, meaning those 12 princes were more elite than all the other men, and they had sons and sons and sons, where Muhammad comes from. Let's go to that verse and subject matter. So when you go to that verse and it says that he would have 12 princes, that word comes out to be Nasi. Nasi.
Strong's 85387. Nasi. Nasi.
So Nasi. All right, it's a masculine form. It's different from what Jacob, when he went from Jacob to Israel, which is Sarah. Notice the translation of Nasi. It says captain, chief, ruler, vapors, governor, chief, clouds, part. Part. He's not a prince of the Most High. See that? He's in part. So if we look at the outline of the biblical usage, it says one lifted up, chief, prince, captain, leader. So he's the captain and leader of the tribes of Ishmael, not of Israel, but of Ishmael. So he is one that has been lifted up. He is rising mist. He is a vapor. Notice that. Just like the Most High says that all nations are nothing to Israel, they are like a drop of a bucket. Ishmael is a rising mist. He is a vapor. You understand? There's a rapper. His name is Nazir Jones. right? Also known as Nas or Nasty Nas, right? His word or his name was not given from Israel. It was brought in from Nasi, or Nasiya, or Nasir. Notice it says in Strong's definition, Nasi, H5375, properly an exalted one, a king or a sheik. Notice it says a sheik. That's going into the Arab pronunciation of Ishmael, right? They're considered sheiks. Israel was never considered sheiks. We were considered gods, powers, princes of powers, right? Notice it also says a rising mist as well here. So other nations have their princes, but the definition of their princes does not have the impact or the power that Yasharallah has. All right? But they can't compare to Jacob. Jacob is the lot of the Most High's inheritance. We have to keep that in mind. Moab had princes. Ammon had princes. They all had princes. Okay? It's a chess game. But the Most High's princes are Jacob, which is the lot of his inheritance. All right? Numbers chapter 7, verse 2. That the princes of Israel, heads of the house of their fathers, who were the princes of the tribes, and were over them that were numbered, offered. And they brought their offering before the Most High, 6 covered wagons and 12 oxen, a wagon for 2 of the princes, and for each one an ox. And they brought them before the tabernacle. So the princes who excelled in the scriptures, when it came time for the feast days, the most important ones that happen 3 times in a year, which is Passover, right? Pentecost, what was the other one? Day of Atonement. Those is where the princes, the most elite, brought all the important stuff to the tabernacle for a sacrifice for the forgiveness of sins for their families. You see that? This is why it's important for the men. He says, unto you, O men, I call, in Proverbs chapter 4. You know, and my voice is to the sons of men. These are the princes. So we have to understand what prince means. When we say we're Israel, Kwam Yasharallah, you know, that's talking about stand-up princes. Let's go to Lamentations chapter 4. Lamentations chapter 4, verse 21. Lamentations chapter 4, verse 21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom. Why Edom? Because you're going to see Edom put us in captivity. That dwelleth in the land of Uz. Uz and Basra is the capital of Edom all over the world. America, which is Mystery Babylon, this is Basra too. Over there where the Pope is, that's Basra too. Basra has moved into every major city. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken. What does drunken mean? When the Most High says drunken, that means drunken with lies. Thou shalt be drunken with lies. Right? When we received Christianity, we were more of a sorrow state than ever before. Before Christianity hit any of our people, whether it was in slavery or whether we was getting destroyed by the missionaries, we became a more sorrowful people to that Christianity. Before that, we were strong people. We didn't need the white man's juice. We didn't need the drunkenness of his understanding of the Bible. It made us weaker, just like today. And shall make thyself naked. See, Esau's already naked.
Here's another book. It's called The Image of the Black in Western Art. This is part 2 of The Image of the Black. These two are always a part of it. One white, one black. Just to add an extra in here, just so you know, the complexion of the king of Babylon, which we all know in the Bible, the king of Babylon was Nebuchadnezzar. So it says here, in 66, king of Babylon grasping the 7th cup. What is that 7th cup? The Apocalypse of France. See that? Paris, Bibliothèque Nationale. Now, Look at the complexion of the king of Babylon. This is the king of Babylon. What complexion is he? He's black. Black men. Black soldiers. See that? King of Babylon. Those are his soldiers. That's the king of Babylon. See the crown? What is he grasping? That seventh cup. Where is he getting the seventh cup from? He's getting it from Serapis Crispus, which is the Antichrist. See that? What complexion is the Antichrist? He's an Edomite. See that? So all these books tell the same story, that the Antichrist are the Edomites. Well, everybody drank that cup, including Babylon. Babylon drank it, so did all other nations. This is the Edomite scribe taking notes. This is not Yahawashi. This is the Edomite Antichrist. But to note, so you have this in your knowledge, that the king of Babylon was a black man. And so if the children of Israel went into captivity in Babylon, they looked just like the Babylonians. See that? Until the Persians and the Medes came into power, which were a lighter color of the Babylonians.
The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. So we have reached our accomplishment of our judgment during this day. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. Who carried us away in captivity? In verse 21, it says that Edom, the daughter of Edom, carried us into captivity. See, we talked about the sons and sons and the sons of Jacob, and the daughters and the daughters and daughters of Jacob. Well, this is the daughters and daughters of Edom. Esau changed his name from prince to what? Dukes. When you read Genesis 36, Dukes, you can follow that line all the way into Europe. The Dukes of Edom, the Dukes of Hazards, right? The Dukes. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. Let's jump over to the next chapter. Let's see what Edom did to us. Lamentations chapter 5, verse 1. Remember. What is remember? How do you say remember in the Hebrew? Zakar. Sakar. Right? Remember, O power, what is come upon us. Consider and behold our reproach. Our inheritance is turned to strangers. Our houses to aliens. I told you what our houses are. It's our father's houses. So we got people dwelling in our land, dwelling in our father's houses, calling themselves us. We are orphans and fatherless. We're fatherless because we can't go back home. Our mothers are as widows. Sarah is a widow now. We have drunken our water for money. Our wood is sold unto us. Our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest. Is that true? Even today, we have no rest. We have given the land. We have given the hand to the Egyptians, those who put us in captivity. That's what the Egyptians represent. And to the Assyrians to be satisfied with bread, all these other nations. Our fathers have sinned and are not, and we have borne their iniquities. Servants have ruled over us. Like the Most High said, these nations are nothing. King Solomon said he had seen servants riding on horses and princes walking. Let's get that real quick. Let's go to Ecclesiastes. Chapter 10, I believe, on the hip. Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 7. This is what Solomon said. I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. There's a statue in New York City in one of the museums where they have, who's that, Roosevelt riding on a horse, and they got an American Indian on the right side, and they got a Negro on the left side walking the horse. So this is what he's saying. I have seen servants upon horses. Who was on the horse? Edom. And princes walking as servants upon the earth. We were walking the horse. You got Judah and Gad on both sides of the horse walking Roosevelt on the horse. You can pull that up online. But yeah, that's what Solomon saw in the future tense. Let's go back to where we were in Lamentations. Lamentations and chapter 5. Lamentations chapter 5 and verse 7. Verse 8. Lamentations chapter 5, verse 8. Servants have ruled over us. These are the other nations. There is none that doth deliver us out of their hand. We have not been delivered out of their hand yet, but wait on Hamashiach. We get our bread with the peril of our lives because of the sword of the wilderness. Our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine. That's us. They ravished the women in Zion, right? They make our women into prostitutes. They make them into hoes. You look at the rap videos, you look at Instagram, you see our women, they all over the place, showing everything. They ravished the woman in Zion and the maids in the city of Judah. What does the maids represent? The young women. Princes are hanged up by their hand. Who are hanged up by their hand? The sons of Jacob. Princes are hanged up by their hand. When we came to this country, they were hanging us. The faces of the elders were not honored. They did not honor the elders of our people.
Your name is Toby.
Look at verse 14. The elders have ceased from the gate. We don't have any leaders anymore. Look around. Who's our leaders? That's what the gate represents. The young men from their music. We have ceased from our music. We don't have any love songs anymore. Most of our men that sing love songs sound effeminate, right? We have to understand that we are at a low estate. We're right back to that low vibration. It's time for us to become princes again, right? That's what we're working on, becoming princes by keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. That's what it's all about. Let's go to Job chapter 12, because Job piggybacks on this too. It's like they all piggybacking off each other when it comes to us going into captivity. Job chapter 12, verse 19. And it reads, He leadeth princes away spoiled. They destroyed us. They spoiled Israel. That's why in Hosea it says, is Israel spoiled? Is Israel a homeborn slave? Right, we're spoiled. It also says that in Isaiah, in chapter 40, it says that all Israel are spoiled in holes, prison holes, or prison houses. We're spoiled. We're in prison houses. He leadeth princes away spoiled. They're in prison because they don't know no better. They don't know the law, statutes, commandments. So they're spoiled with the understanding. They're drunk with the understanding of Esau. He leadeth princes away spoiled and overthroweth the mighty. The mighty's overthrown, right? By filthy lucre, by bribes. Let's go to, let's read on. There's more meat. He removeth away the speech of the trustee, right? Those that teach the laws the right way, and taketh away the understanding of the age. Our aged men don't know anything. He poureth contempt upon princes and weakeneth the strength of the mighty. Look at that. Man, let's go to Isaiah chapter 1. Most High ain't no joke. Isaiah chapter 1. So the princes got to get back to what they believe in, which is the Most High's word. Isaiah 1 and 23, it reads, Thy princes are rebellious. These are young men. I was just watching a young rapper get killed. He was on the freeway, and another young man jumped out the car with an AK. It looked like a Desert Eagle. The gun was so big, he was dragging the gun and chasing down the rapper in his last moments of life. Our princes are rebellious. See that? And companions of thieves. They're companions of thieves. They follow the Scarface and all these movies that come out that decrepit our bodies and our minds to be just like them, the Gaudis and all that stuff, you know. Man, it's crazy. The princes are rebellious and companions of thieves. Everyone loveth gifts. Look at that. Everyone loveth gifts. Remember, a gift destroyeth the heart. Remember that in the Apocrypha? A gift destroyeth the heart, and that's what they do to us. They destroy us with gifts. Everyone loveth gifts and follow after rewards. They judge not the fatherless, neither doth the cause of the widow come unto them. Therefore saith the Most High of hosts, the mighty one of Israel, I will ease me of mine adversary and avenge me of mine enemies. See that? That's what we have to do. Try to avenge ourselves spiritually. It's all spiritual. It's the only way we can avenge ourselves. Hosea 4 and 6. Book of Hosea. Hosea 4 and 6. You should all know this and commit this to memory. Hosea 4 and 6. Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. It reads, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected what? This is why we're in the lower state. Because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power. I will also forget thy children. Is not the Most High still paying attention to us? Yeah, he is. He's still watching us. But he only judgeth the righteous, and he's angry with the wicked every day. He only judgeth the righteous, and he's angry with the wicked every day. So yeah, he's watching us. He never slumbers. Hosea 4 and 7. As they were increased, so they sinned against me. The more we increase, the more we sin, because there's no knowledge within our people. So you see a multitude of people gathering together, they're as wicked as all outdoors. All of them. You go to these festivals, you go to these gatherings, and we're increasing, they're more wicked. Therefore will I change their glory into shame. Why is this happening to us? We always get judged. Why do they always do this to us? They're always racist to us. Well, that's why. We forgot our Father. We forgot what we're supposed to do. They eat up the sin of my people, and they set their heart on their iniquity. And there shall be like people, like priests, and I will punish them for their ways and reward them their doing. So the Most High still gives out rewards. And it ain't no good reward, right? The Most High gives them a reward of their doing. If they're very sinful, he'll give them that sinful reward. Whatever they desire, whatever their heart desire, is what he's going to give them. All right? That's a form of judgment. Judgment is still in the earth. That's part of the commandments. Judgment laws. He still has them in the earth. Let's go to Matthew chapter 20. People forget that the Most High still judges. Matthew chapter 20, verse 21. Just because somebody gets away out of court don't mean that they ain't going to get judged. All right? The Most High has the final say-so. Let's go right to the point. Let's go to verse 25. Yeah, right here. But Yahawashi called them unto him and said, ye know that the princes of the Gentiles exercise dominion over them, and they that are great exercise authority upon them. So the Gentiles have princes. All right? See that? Esau has princes. Like I said, Ammon, Moab, Ishmael, they all have princes, and they are the rulers of this world. And Jacob is at a low estate. And we should know the lineup of this when it says that the Gentiles have princes. This goes into Psalm chapter 83. It lists all the princes, their fathers, which is Edom, Ishmael, Moab, Ammon, Gabal, and lists all their fathers and how they have taken our houses and pushed us down to be low men. 1 Corinthians chapter 2. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 6. It reads, howbeit we speak wisdom among them that are perfect, yet not the wisdom of this world, nor of the princes of this world that come to naught. But we speak the wisdom of the Most High in a mystery. See that? This is a mystery, the words that we're speaking today. Even the hidden wisdom, which the Most High Yahawaah ordained before the world unto our glory. So our glory is coming through the Father, just like Jacob's glory came from the Father. If we honor him, he will honor us. So we have to get that wisdom, which is keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. That's what's important. because the Most High said that when he returns, he is going to destroy the princes of this earth. That even means princes of Israel, who become princes in other names. But some of us become princes in Edom. Some of us become princes in Ammon and Moab, right? We follow the other nations in a low estate. Let's go to Zephaniah. The Most High will return and bring that upon their head. Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 8. And it reads, I'll start at 7. Zephaniah 1 and 7. Hold thy peace at the presence of the Most High Yahawah, for the day of the Most High is at hand. For the Most High hath prepared a sacrifice. He hath bid his guests. Who are the guests? Who are going to be performing in this sacrifice? It's going to be all the heathen are going to get burned up. That's going to be the Most High sacrifice. And it shall come to pass in the day of the Most High sacrifice that I will punish the princes and the king's children, and all such as are clothed with strange apparel.
The strange apparel is strange doctrines of devils. All right, Christianity, Islam, things of that nature. But we also have a dress code in Numbers chapter 15. Keep that in mind with the strange apparel.
But the Most High is going to punish all the princes of the earth. He's going to put them in a hot pot, because they call this place the melting pot, right? I want to take us to Ezekiel 24. Ezekiel 24. The Most High is going to put us in a melted pot, and he's going to burn us all up, right? That's what this whole place is, a boiling pot. Ezekiel 24, verse 3. Look at how the Most High is going to take all these nations and burn them up. And utter a parable unto the rebellious house, and say unto them, thus saith the Most High of hosts, set on a pot, set it on, and also pour water into it. Gather the pieces thereof into it, even every good piece. The thigh, that's probably of Moab. The shoulder, that's probably Edom. Fill it with the choice bones. Take the choice of the flock and burn also the bones under it, and make it boil well. And let them see the bones of it therein. So the Most High is going to take all these nations, put them in a pot, and boil them like he's making a stew. Wherefore thus saith the Most High of hosts, woe to the bloody city, to the pot whose scum is therein. So some of the Israelites are scum because they follow the other nations. He calls all these nations scum. And whose scum is not gone out of it. Bring it out piece by piece. Let no lot fall upon it, for her blood is in the midst of her. She set it upon the top of a rock. She poured it not upon the ground to cover it with dust. So the Most High is going to burn up everybody. See, the Most High, he's poetic with this stuff. You know, we don't know how to be poetic. The Most High knows how to be poetic with certain things. You know, my wife, like I said the other day, she said, baby, she was feeling my skin. She said, you're hot. I said, thank you. I've been waiting for you to tell me I'm hot all day. So you got to be poetic with this thing. The Most High is poetic. He knows how to get his words across. He knows what to say to us. If you don't get it this way, he'll give you another way to understand it, right? And some people only understand this way. I'm going to put you in the boiling pot and cook you. That's how the Most High get down. All right? Let's go to Psalms chapter 107. And let's wrap this thing up. Psalms 107. Psalms 107 and verse 40. He says, he poureth contempt upon princes and causes them to wander in the wilderness where there is no way. All right, this is us. Yet setteth he the poor on high from affliction, and maketh him families like a flock. The righteous shall see it and rejoice, and all of iniquity shall stop her mouth. So this is what we're waiting on for the Most High to bring back the heritage of Jacob, because we were so wicked that he discontinued our heritage, right? That's what he says in Jeremiah 17, I believe the 4th verse. He says, I will discontinue you from your inheritance. I'm going to stop what you know. Every captivity, we lost a little bit more of our heritage. Every captivity. And this one, which is the last captivity dealing with Edom, we lost everything. We lost all our heritage. We lost everything. We don't know nothing. We don't know how to do nothing. Ecclesiastes chapter 10. Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and 17. Blessed art thou, O land, where the king is the son of nobles, which is princes, and thy princes eat in due season, for strength and not for drunkenness. By much slothfulness, the building decayeth, and through idleness of the hands of the house droppeth through. So the Most High wants us to be on point, learning what Jacob knew, and all the kings of the nobles, all the princes of the nobles. All right? Understand that we got to get back to our heritage. Matthew chapter 2, verse 6. And we're going to end with this, Matthew 2 and 6. And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah? For out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people, Yasharallah. We all know who that governor is pursuant to Isaiah chapter 2. The Most High sent Yahawashi to be a savior to Israel, starting with Judah first, and then all the other tribes, because all other tribes are washed in the waters of Judah, meaning they're going to learn from the voice of Judah. Yahawashi is the governor, and he is going to redeem us, pursuant to Matthew 24 and Matthew 25. All right, and with that, we're going to end this class. I pray that you understand the meditation of the princes, that we have to be diligent in this truth and do what's right at all times to the best of our ability. I'm going to end it with YAHAWAH HAMASHAYACH Yahawashi. All praise to the Most High and all the Israelites around the globe that are keeping the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of their ability through Yahawashi, through the faith of Yahawashi. Blessings to all. Are there any questions, statements, or comments?
Word of the Lord of hosts. I took you from the pastures and from following the sheep to be prince over my people Israel. I have been with you wherever you have gone and have destroyed all the enemies in your path. I will make you a great name among the great ones of the earth. I will assign a place for my people in Israel. There I will plant them, and they shall dwell in their own land.
But on that meditation part, if you go to Psalms 119 and 97, which starts off the Hebrew letter M, as we would call it, but it's called a meme. And it says, "Oh, how I love thy law. It is my meditation all the day." And it keeps going. "Thou through your commandments have made me wiser than mine enemies, for they are ever with me." And here comes the meditation again in 99. "I have more understanding than all my teachers, for thy testimonies are my meditation." And so that's what I thought you were going to go to. And I remember that word very vividly. It's a Hebrew word. I don't know the number of it right off, but I can look it up. But the word that is used there for my meditation is sakati, which is the verb form is psycha, which means to muse and also to meditate upon and to study. That's the key word in that meditation. And so when you relate that to the saints, it's just so perfect, because you can't really have that good praise, those good prayers, the saints can't really have nothing, or the princes that is, without real good study. And how you get that study, the meditation talks about, is you have to meditate upon the law every day. And it's just, and so all the princes that were brought out in this lesson, especially the one speaking about the Hamashiach, I mean, that the meditation was the law. And that's the one that I just wanted to bring out. And I found that word. It was Hebrew word. I think it was 7878. I think it was 7878 was for sakati, which is our sakat. The sakati means my. We put the I at the end. It means my meditation, as is presented in the scripture. But meditation by itself is just a ka. It's a ka. So anyway, that's all I got for right now. I'll tell you something else on the second part. Great class, Art.
No, man, that's kind. That's right on point. It was, if I had included every verse regarding meditation, we'd still be teaching right now. That's a whole day class.
Exactly.
Because the Most High goes in and out with that meditation thing. Even when you first open up the book of Psalms, he talks about in the 3rd verse, but his delight is in the law of the Most High, and in his law doeth he meditate day and night. So it's all over the scriptures about this meditation that we have to have, which also makes me think about other qualities of people when they take our words. Because, our Bible's in everybody's home, mostly. Think about it. It ain't just us who have these books. The whole world has our Bible. They give it as gifts to their sons and daughters. These Christians, these so-called Christians that claim that they're in the truth, that are not really in the truth, they're following another doctrine, they give these Bibles out like cupcakes, And so when you look at words like I was talking about Sarah earlier, the significance of the word Sarah is very prominent because it means prince, or princess. And then to be a princess means you have to be excellent. And then even when you look at rappers, a lot of the rappers that are out there today, I'm going into the hip-hop thing, a lot of the rappers have really profound, prolific names, that are out there that you never even think twice about. And even to mention the white one, which he could possibly be Jake, when it goes to Eminem, his name is Slim Shady, which means Slim Prince, right? And if you look at that name, it means to excel. And if you look at his repertoire and how he raps, it's like he surpassed a lot of the rappers based on his style of rap. He's very articulate. But there's so many other people out there who have names that we don't even look into, like, some of y'all may not know some of these rappers, but like the Wu-Tang Clan, you look at some of their names, a lot of their names has really profound significance, but we have to understand, to be a prince, we're talking about the Most High, and other people like to steal the things that the Most High has given to his children. And so we have to focus in on what the brother Yahawaah was just speaking about when he went into Psalms 119, verse 97. Our meditation all the day is the scriptures and the law, statutes, and commandments. That's what's not being told to the rest of the world. The law, statutes, and commandments is what makes us princes. And the heritage of Jacob in our bloodline makes us a prince or princesses. Not just because you have a Bible in your presence, but because we are the children of Israel. We are of that bloodline, pursuant to Romans chapter 9. All right, 1 through 6 talks about the bloodline of the Israelites. We are the Israelites, right? And so we are the princes, we are the saints, we are the elect, we are the sons of Jacob, we are the sons of the Most High. So you have to keep all that in mind when we're talking about the princes and the meditation all the day of our life. keeping the law, statutes, commandments. You know.
That's right.
I'll end with that.
Hog them up.
Run them Jews, Ark.
When you said that before, man, it cracked me up. On that thing, I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant big time. Now you brought out that word, bro. When you was breaking down, you just was talking about it too. I just wanted to elaborate a little bit on it, if I could, for the main reason for edification, and also to just share some things that I found out about that interesting word that you brought out for prince. And it's really, I'm going to start with this. The letter sin that is represented in the paleo, as far as what it looks like, the morphology of it looks like the letter W. And in the modern, it still looks like a W. It just got the curves at the bottom. That's what that shin looks like. Most of you already probably know this, but some have taught that it is, when you see that shin, it only gets a sh sound, like a sh sound, sh. However, in the modern, they kind of made a depiction of the way it sounds, and I'm going to prove it. I'm going to attempt to prove it with what you were just bringing out, especially in Sarah, and when you look at Sarah, as that, and you even did the phonology. You had a recording where it said the actual name, Sarah. And notice it's three. Like, imagine if you would, in your mind, that shin, what it looks like that W. One of them has a dot that's to the right, on the right side of the W, on top. That gives you the SH sound. If there is a dot on the other side, which is the left side, you get the sin. It's like just the S sound versus the sha. Okay, so that's just for edification, and what I've learned from the Hebrew language. Now, check out this. When we pronounce Sarah's name, we know that it just has the S sound. She's not pronounced Shara with SH. She has the dot over the left side, which is just a Sarah. And the same goes with the word prince, which that name Sarah, as you brought out so wonderfully, that's why she was called princess. And even in the lexicon, you will see that, because by having the H at the end of her name, it can be also feminine, which it did for her name, the wife of Abraham. The proper name for her was Sarah. Okay? Now, but this is the point that I wanted to bring out, because you brought out all those points, and I just want to elaborate on the differences of that shin sound can just get a S sound versus the SH. And when you look another word, and you hit it, Ak, when you went to Genesis chapter, what was that? 31. Yeah, 32 and 29. Let's just revisit that 1 second. Just for a second. Genesis, what was that? 29.
32, 28. Okay, 29.
What was that when you went to it early?
28.
Genesis 32, you're right. 32 and 29. Yeah. And I'm just going to read that again, 28. And it says, and he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, and most people say Yasharallah, and some say Yisrael. For as a prince, you brought that part out, has thy power with the Most High and with men, and has prevailed. And so when we get to that, we see that word Sarah means to persist, to exert oneself, persevere. You brought that out already. But check this out. Mm-hmm. It's also a direct relation with the name Yasharallah. Yasharallah. Because you see that if you look at the Hebrew letters for Israel, Yasharallah, you have a Yod, you have a Sin, which just get the sound, you have a Ra, which is like an R, you have a or Alif, and then you have a Lamed, which is an L. So you have those 5 characters. But check this out.
Which are the Hebrew alphabet.
3 of them, mm-hmm. you have the persist in that name. You have that same Sarah in Yasharallah. You see what I'm saying? So not only when he changed his name from Jacob, because it meant he persisted, he exerted himself, and he persevered, but that also went into the name of the people of Israel, which, because you had that same persistence in Israel. I have to send a picture later so you all can see. I'm going to write it down real quick, and I'm going to do a snapshot so you can see where it's not only with Sarah, but you have the actual name Israel, as we say in English, from that same root word, that verb, which means to persist, exert oneself, and persevere. And that's exactly what Israel, the true Israelites, are doing today. We're still persisting. No matter how they try to kill us, off and everything, we're still there. And one last point, because it's another word that was brought out in Ezekiel. I remember studying this too. And it's also a form of that word to mean a chief ruler, official, a captain, or a prince. Mm-hmm. And this is a word that's used a lot. This is a word that's brought out a lot. When all the ones you mentioned, like the prince of Ephraim, when you went over that part showing that Israel had princes, that word is and it's also used in this other prince. And that's when I found it. Not the one in music, but another one speaking about in Ezekiel 38 when it talks about Gog and Magog. The prince of God, the prince of Magog. It's just a sin and a rosh. So it's Ser, it's Sa, it's Sa. That's how you pronounce it. Sa. Almost like remember how somebody is a CZAR? That's a word that we have used. Like a czar. I guess some people pronounce it.
Yeah, in Russia.
It's CZAR. Some people still use that word as a chief or a ruler, and that's actually the way that word is pronounced without the C is as Tsar. It sounds like czar, but it's spelled CZAR. Anyway, that's the masculine of Sarah. For when it talks about all the princes you talked about, you're going to find Zar. Sarah is the feminine part of it for a proper name, which means princess. So that's just the difference in those two. So I hope I didn't confuse nobody. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to add and edify on that part of princes. But that's all I got for point number 2.
No, Karen, I was following along with you, and I like when you go there with that, start making sense. But for those of you who did not understand, when it comes to the Hebrew alphabet, just open up your Bible and take it to Psalms 119. All right, thank you for going over all of that, man. That brings to mind some other things for me when it comes to the Caesars or the SARS, right? But I'm going to do some research on that. When you look at Psalms 119, for those of you who were following along to the best of your ability, the Hebrew alphabet is in Psalms 119. We have said this before, and I thought I'd reiterate it again. If you're having a hard time understanding what the Hebrew alphabet is, it starts off with Aleph. If you notice, Solomon wrote it all in here for you. The first paragraph, he says Aleph. The next paragraph, he says Beth. The next paragraph, he says Gimel. These are the alphabets. Aleph, Bet, Vet, Gimel, Daleth, Vav, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet. I know it by heart. Yod, see in verse 73, that paragraph starts with Yod, meaning hand. Kaf, which is the cuff of your hand, Kaf. The next one is Lamed, meaning learn, Lamed. You have Mem, the next one, in the next paragraph. I'm taking you somewhere, just follow along. Nun, the next one. Samich, brother was talking about Samich. Ayin, Pei, Simon, Hi, Ayin, Pei, Fe, right? Zadi, because the Jewish, they put another alphabet in there between Pei and Sadi, right? They put a Fe in there. I don't know why they did that. They're adding words to the Hebrew dialect. Samic, Ayin, Pei, Fe, right? So Sadi is another one. Kaf is another one. Rish, the brother was going over Rish. And then you have Shin. He had spoke about Shin for Sarah, right? There it is right there. It's SW, but it's spelled here SCHIN. And you notice the very first word in Psalms 161 is what? Princess. It goes right along with
Shin. That's right, huh?
And then when you read this whole paragraph, it's going to tell you about the diligence of a prince all the way down to the last verse in Psalms 168. Him that kept thy precepts and thy testimonies, for all the ways are before thee. And we talked about how the Most High never slumbers. He sees everything. He never slumbers. Everything is before him. So keep that in mind. The alphabet, the Most High had Solomon write all the alphabets right here for you, so you'll never forget it. Okay? And then when you get into Psalms 121, he talks about how he doesn't slumber, the whole chapter. He's reminding you, don't sleep on him. He's always paying attention. So read your scriptures. It's very important. Thank you, Art, for going over that, because you triggered me to take it there. All right?
And I just learned something by it, bro. When you thought that, I didn't know that's right. That's verse 161, start with princes, so we know what that word is. Because you already went over it. Then you go to verse 164, 7. We know that's going to be Sabbath, Shabbat.
Right. That's right. That's right.
So that's right. Sabbath, which means 7 times a day. Each one of those verses is going to start with a shin. And so that's beautiful. All praises. I just learned something.
Just recite it constantly where you have it. So then when you go to it, you can find it quicker. And you'll understand it. Just like knowing the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and it goes into the letters. Just learn the scriptures backwards and forwards to the best of your ability. It's important. It's important for you to be able to explain it to people as well, to the best of your ability.
Some Bibles, when you see those, they're going to spell these Hebrew letters, consonants. They're all consonants. They're going to, they may spell them a little differently, but it should still be phonetically correct. So, in other words, it still should sound the same. But see, we're looking at the Hebrew vowels. The American vowels, because that's what we've been conditioned on, and so we pronounce them that way. And sometimes they're a little different. Just like I'm learning in Portuguese. I'm having a big-time problem, or challenge, I'll put it that way, when I'm learning all 3 languages because, for example, the letter I in Portuguese is pronounced with a E sound, E. So when you see that, which is this, so whenever you're looking at names, now I know, and I'm getting accustomed to it, and I'm reading off something or somebody saying something, I know what they're saying, but the vowels can be different. So bring it back to the point you were making when you said bet, bet. Some would say bet, some would say bet, but the first part of that first accent from your lips and from your tongue is what that vowel is called, or not that vowel, that consonant is called. So with the bet, what they say, bet or bait, that bet, that's the sound. They just call it that. You know what I'm saying? And I would agree with Shabbat 1 that I would invite everyone to learn that alphabet as a minimum. That should be before you sew on one fringe. This is my opinion. Before you sew on one fringe, before you grow your beard, before you, whatever the case, learn the Hebrew alphabet. It ain't because when you do, now when you see text, just by knowing what the letter sounds like, you can form a word. You can also say, well, okay, I know that Yomi, Yisrael, Yasharala. You'll be able to look at text, and now, because you know the alphabet, before you learn any language, you got to know the alphabet. Even people that don't know how to read know the alphabet. Think about it. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'll just encourage people as a very minimum to know, if it's ours, if we're trying to take everything back, learn a minimum of the alphabet. Then when you see Hebrew text, you will be able to know what it's saying. It may take you a little time for each word because you got to sound out with your lips. Just like if I threw 5 letters out there, Ploy. Somebody look at, okay, ploy. Oh, I know, okay. You know what I'm saying? A plot, Plot. If somebody threw out 4 Hebrew letters, you'll be able to say, oh, wait a minute, okay. Oh, that's Jacob. That's who that's talking about. That's Yaakov. That's Yaakov. You know, just by knowing the letters. So at least you're getting back to your roots.